is the lead odds maker for the DraftKings Sportsbook, who brings you Felger and Mazz as a presenting sponsor. We're getting a lot of bills paid. Johhny Avello joins us now. John, we got to pay a lot of bills out here.
Look, I understand.
But DraftKings Sportsbook is the big one. That is our presenting sponsor. 24/7, 5 days a week, 365 days a year. That's us.
Glad to support you guys.
So it's great to have your support and your partnership, and we value it. And I have some gambling questions. Here's one that just drives me nuts. Generically, before we get to the game.
Okay.
How is the initial line set? Because I can't tell you how many calls and people will say, well, Felger, they don't actually think they're going to win by 3. They're just trying to get even money on both sides. Because, I'll say, well, look, the Patriots should lose because they're 4.5-point dogs. And the caller will say, they're just doing that so people will bet the other side. It's not based on who they think's going to win. And I feel like saying, no, the initial number, where does it come from?
Okay, so first of all, the Super Bowl line is probably the easiest line to make of all the NFL games that we do all year. And the reason is we have all this data from the whole year.
Right.
So the power ratings are about as tight as they can be.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. The initial line is based on power ratings. It's not based on who you think's going to bet what. It's based on the initial data of you handicapping the two teams in the game.
Yes. Now,
thank you.
You did say something about, people. Who do we think that people are going to bet? We know that the Chiefs haven't lost in a long time. We know that the Chiefs are winners, right? So that's probably worth a half a point. But these two teams are only about a point difference between the two.
So you're saying public sentiment on that initial line might be worth a half a point because for example, traditionally Notre Dame gets overbet, or there's certain teams and brands that get overbet. You could give me some more, I'm sure, but you do factor that in.
Yes, Ohio State, Michigan, of course, yeah, Texas. So yeah, there's a lot of teams. USC. There's a lot of teams that have that aura about them that get bet. But we try to stay away from trying to pick a winner. That's not what we do. That's why the person said that they're trying to get balance on both sides. We are trying to do that, but we never balance a game out. It just never happens. But if you think of it this way, where if we've got, let's take just a normal game. We've got $2 million on one side and we've got $1.5 million on the other side. If the team that has $2 million on it, okay, we'll pay out $2 million. But if the team loses, we're going to win like $2.4 million. So we're always in that spot with the juice to where we're going to make more than we lose.
Where you can handle a gap.
That we can handle a gap. And over the course of time, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, all of those sports, that's what we have going for us, and that's what we work on. We are not trying to pick winners. We are not trying to do that.
Okay, I'm curious about the power rating because I have the DraftKings app open here right now.
Uh-huh.
It says Kansas City is favored by 1.5 in this game. I think it's been that way pretty much since the beginning.
Very beginning.
Okay,
which is very unusual.
Okay, hasn't changed at all.
Not at all.
Okay, so yet I look at the two teams on paper, and I say the point differential, if you talk about that, and I don't know whether this is a factor for you or not. Philadelphia is 160 points better than its opponents this year. Kansas City's only 59 points, I think. So I look at that and I say, Philadelphia has been a much better team against its schedule than Kansas City has against its schedule. So why is Kansas City favored in this game?
Because Kansas City has won 2 Super Bowls in a row and knows how to win, and the other team hasn't figured that out yet.
So how does that get measured?
That is all in our intangibles.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the power ratings, it's offensive and defensive production, any injuries that may go into that, coaching goes into that, and any other intangibles.
And it's a formula.
Things we just mentioned. It's a formula. That's right. Many different factors go in. Now, that's a process I used to do manually. That's a process now is done through algorithms.
Do you really have an algorithm for that?
Yeah, we do.
And does every house have their own, or do you think it's a pretty standard sort of formula that everyone uses?
Here's what happens. DraftKings, we're the initial line makers, and so we're market makers. So
you are?
Yeah, we're the first to put out a lot of lines.
Isn't Westgate? Wasn't Westgate always that?
Oh, no.
No? Sorry, I even mentioned it.
No.
Before
Westgate might be for Las Vegas.
What's that?
Westgate might be the initial for Las Vegas, but we are for the for the entire country.
For the online gaming world, you'd
Yeah,
say?
and so we put up our line. Everybody can see it, including the Westgate, including Circa, including FanDuel, and then it's just a copy process. See where we move to, and then put up that line if you want. Maybe be a half a point away, but you can see what we opened and where we moved to, or we opened and we didn't move, and just so a lot of places don't really need a big odds making team.
Okay, so and you're central. You're the lead figure in setting these lines.
Yeah,
and,
our team,
and-
75 to 100 traders we have.
okay, and you're in charge of them.
Yeah, well, I put the team together. I have a lot of other duties, so there's actually a director of that. Let's say that I'm at a point where I consult them now.
Right. So, like, if I ask you where you think there's value in some of the bets out there, some of the lines, your answer would be there's no value. We've given you the perfect number for all these things, and there's no play. I'm not trying to pick. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's no perfect number. It's basically the number's what we put up because of what our model told us.
Okay, so do you think there's value in certain things? I mean, can you even
Oh, definitely.
where?
Well, you think it's going to be a pretty close game?
Yes.
And so do I. And so will any team ever be leading by 14.5 points? So
That's a good
where
bet.
where do you go with that?
What's the number on that?
Under is maybe $1.30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Will any
that's
team
co-
ever lead by
that's-
14.5 points?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes. No.
What's the overtime number to make overtime?
The over is plus $1. Go over 14.5, like plus 110. I think it is.
No, to make overtime.
Oh,
Both-
overtime.
Overtime.
I think 650 in overtime.
Okay, so that seems like value there.
And how about the team that kicked the winning field goal with no time left? Either team, because when you think about it, now I'm not saying you bet this, but you kind of think through the game a little bit. No team wants the other team to have the ball in their hands
Right.
at the end.
Right.
So the goal is use how much time you can use up and then win the game. That's the goal.
Okay. Do you do any of the I forget what you call them, but like the novelty props?
Yes.
Blue or green Gatorade
Yes.
bath.
That one we
the
do.
Length of the national. This one fascinates
That one
me.
we don't do anymore.
Okay. It feels too easily manipulated.
Correct.
All of them do, frankly.
That's why we don't do it. The Gatorade, we know that the last 2 years was the purple, right?
Okay.
And so we made that the favorite because Kansas City's the favorite in the game. The money's coming on the green-yellow, right?
Do you
Philly?
take like big action on this?
Nickels, dimes, that's all.
Okay, but is there a limit to what you can bet on that?
Yeah, 500, 1,000. That's it.
Okay, there has to be. Because that's
Yeah.
too easy. The equipment guy puts
right.
down a $500,000,
Right,
and the next thing you
exactly.
know, you've got pink Gatorade or something. You know, like you know what I mean?
So, like in all seriousness, do you know which colors each team is going to have before the game starts?
We don't. We just go, we can go by past performances. That's about it.
But that feels so easily
Yeah, it
manipulated.
That's why the limits are low. That's exactly why the limits are low.
And the anthem, so you got out of that because
It's you got to handicap singers. Who sings quicker than others? I mean,
And is it even live? Because I know a lot of anthems are pre-recorded. They're live to tape. In other words, the singer comes out 2 hours before the game as the building's filling up, and he or she sings it there, and then he or she lip syncs it live. It sounds live because it's going through the stadium, but it was actually pre-recorded.
Yeah, that's not good. I didn't know that they did that.
I'm
So-
pretty sure I've seen them do it. I know they've done it. I don't know that everybody does it. I can't tell you when they do it. I used to cover hockey. I've been to enough sporting events early doing work that I know what they're doing there.
exactly the reasons.
Yeah, like why? How could you ever
We don't
take
do
a bet
it.
on that?
Yeah, I don't like taking bets. Like, people say, do you have Taylor Swift? How many times they're going to show Taylor Swift versus Donald Trump? I don't want to put that kind of stuff up. I don't know.
Too arbitrary.
That's exactly. I want things to be played out on the field.
But I'll bet you even on that one. I'll bet you that one's going to be dead even. Fox is on the game, right? But who's ever on the game, no network is going to want to have to listen to someone the next day say, you were favoring him or you were favoring her. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to listen to the political people, especially the networks. So whatever she gets, he's going to get. It's going to be dead even, I guarantee you.
Joe, how many Super Bowls have you been a part of with making the odds? Do you keep track of that?
Yeah, back to 1985.
Wow.
And every one since then?
Bears, Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking like going on 40 years here.
That's correct.
Is there a particular game that sticks out to you said, okay, why are you chuckling? That means the answer is yes.
There's a lot of them.
Okay, so which game do you look back at and say, boy, that was a tough one, or we had trouble coming up with one in that game for this reason, or
what was your biggest miss?
Yeah.
Well, we've missed. Yeah, that's not important, the biggest miss, because sometimes our biggest miss we make more money on. So that's okay.
Okay.
It's the bets. I remember taking one of the first $1 million bets on the, let's see, that was the Seattle against the Patriots.
Okay.
The guy bet the Patriots for $1 million, plus I had a lot of other money on the Patriots in that one. And that's the one where they got stopped at the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
right.
And so I said to the guy after the game, why did you bet the Patriots for $1 million? What was your reason? And he said, because I had a dream last night. That's what he told me. So I have a lot of stories like that on games we had a lot of money on, games that went our way, games that big guys came up and bet a ton of money.
So do you regret taking the bet? I mean,
not at all.
Yeah, I mean, you always take it, right?
Not at all. Mattress Mac bet. 3.5.
This is the guy in Houston who, pairs it with a giveaway to his customers.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah, he didn't pair. This was not a pair. He bet $3.5 million on Tampa Bay with Brady, so he won
Good
that
bet.
one.
Wow,
that was one of the bigger bets you'll find on the Super Bowl. You know, I think the 3-5 was one of our biggest bets ever. We've taken a lot of $1 million bets. That's pretty common in the Super Bowl era.
So on that bet, you've got to see the guy, call the guy, talk to the guy. That he can't just pick up his phone and do that one.
No, well, first of all, the money has to be in the account. So usually when a guy wants to make a big bet, he'll call and say, sometimes I get the call, sometimes the host gets a call. I want to bet X on the game. Okay, we just have to get that money into your account. We get it in the account, then he makes the bet. It's that simple, really is. It's not a lot of effort.
Okay, Johhny Avello, lead odds maker at DraftKings. I'm sorry.
Director of Race and Sports Operation.
Okay, there it is. Thanks for coming by. It's fascinating. I love it.
It is.
Okay.
I want to know, like, one of the. I'm going to ask you off the air. I want to know, like, when you did your algorithm.
Ask him now.
Was it actually on a piece of paper? Like, you say I did it manually. Did you write? You did. You had like a formula on a piece of paper.
Yeah, but algorithms was a word we did not use.
Right. So formula.
Yeah, formula.
Okay. So how many elements were in that? Like, how long was it?
Not a lot. There were probably
offensive, defensive, injuries, intangibles.
Yeah, there were probably 6 elements in that formula, and today there's 60. So it's made a lot different now.
And you qualify injuries as, this guy, that guy, that guy. You add them up, they're worth a point.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Well, unless it's a quarterback. A quarterback could be worth – Mahomes is worth anything from 7 to 10. Depends on who they're playing.
Okay.
Awesome. Johhny Avello, thanks again.
Great.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.